There we go. Hello, everyone.
Oh yeah!
Let me start this from the beginning. There we go. Do you want me to wait a few minutes to see if we have any people trickling in, or it is 11:30, so let's start this party.
Let's roll right into it.
Heck yeah, baby! Hello, welcome to Magical Girl Mayhem R. I did this panel last year virtually, but this time it's in person, so therefore it's the sequel, so therefore it is R. Alright, so is anyone here a Magical Girl fan? Raise your hand if you consider yourself. There we go. Anyone like newer to it, don't really know too much about it yet, or just here to learn about some good girls kicking butt? Because that's what it is. So we're going to run through a lot of stuff about magical girls. We're going to go through like history, common tropes, and eventually maybe how to make your own magical girl, because I like that. So let's start out. What is magical girl? Magical girl, or Maho Shoujo, is a genre of anime which focuses on girls with magical powers or items. It's a very vague and like broad genre that covers a lot of different shows. In the Magical Girl fandom, there is often a bunch of people who like contest, is this show Magical Girl or not? I just say, sure, the more Magical Girl shows there are, the better.
Is Toho Maho Shoujo?
You know what, we'll say yes. So let's dive in first with the timeline, because Magical Girl is a genre that goes back so far. So we're starting out, so we're actually starting out in the 70s, or no, the 50s technically, with the birth of shoujo itself, with Osamu Tezuka's considered to be one of the first shoujo manga ever written, which is Princess Knight. We will actually get back to Princess Knight a bit later, but this was pretty much the birth of shoujo as a genre, and shoujo is anime and manga which is marketed towards a teenage girl audience.
I've seen that one.
I love Princess Knight.
I've been trying to find DVDs of that. It's hard to find it. I mean,
It is a bit hard to find. It's hard to find a lot. As a big Tezuka fan, it's so hard to find Tezuka stuff.
Yeah.
And then, and then we move on to the 60s, which is Let's Blame Sitcoms. So have you ever heard of the American show Bewitched?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It got really popular in Japan, and because of that, a lot of people are like, I want a witch main character. So that starts out with our first magical girl thing ever made, which is Sally the Witch, which is that one right there. And pretty much it's just about a witch who comes to Earth and does slice of life things. And you can also see this in the one over there, which is Secrets of Ako-chan. So pretty much you don't see like transformations at this. You just have girls who are magic and do magic, and like sometimes that magic causes problems. Very Star versus the forces of evil. And then moving on to the 70s, let's get mature. A lot of the main characters who are focused on in shows in the 70s start to focus on themes of like growing up and maturity. Like you have Cutie Honey over there, and if you don't know, Cutie Honey is by Go Nagai, the same man who did Devilman. So you can probably see what Cutie Honey is kind of like. Yeah. And then you have Marvelous Melmo, which is a show that was made. It was another Tezuka thing. Both of these focus on either girl characters who are older than the previous generation, or girl characters who get old. Because with Melmo's transformation, she eats that magic candy, and she goes from a child to an adult.
I want to watch that now.
No, I don't.
I'm kind of curious for why I thought how that works. I think it's because no, we don't. Saving you the warning of not watching those.
And then we have the 80s, which I like to call buy our merch. This is when people realize, oh my god, we can sell toys with all this. You also see toys being sold with like the birth of like a lot of like tokusatsu stuff and like Gundam as well. And people realize we can sell toys to girls if we put pink and ribbons on it. And I'm like, yes, you can. And the show is displayed right here is Magical Angel Creamy Mommy, which is actually a really fun, good show. And Minky Momo. And something really, I guess a fun fact about Minky Momo is the toy sales for her show were not good. So Toei was going to cancel it. So what the showrunners did is they killed Minky Momo. They put her in a car accident. And it was a car carrying toys.
Oh. How ironic.
And then 100 years later, she reincarnated as Haman Karn and Zeta Gundam.
Yeah, it is. And this also, these are both Toei Magical Girl shows. And if you don't know Toei is behind tokusatsu shows, like Super Sentai. They're behind, they do One Piece, they do the One Piece anime, so they're a big franchise, but they're a big animation studio. They do Pretty Cure now, we're gonna get to that later. And yeah, they, in the 80s, they had so many different, like, natural girl shows. I'm just displaying 2 of them right now, but there's also, like, Persia, there was, Pastel Yumi, Magical Emmy. There were so many, it's just like, and these girls can do magic. Isn't that cool? Buy our toys. And then we have the 90s. Yes. Thanks, Power Rangers.
Yeah.
So at this point we have Sailor Moon, one of the most popular things ever. I love Sailor Moon with my entire soul and being. And the creator of Sailor Moon, Yako Takeuchi, she was really inspired by Super Sentai, otherwise in America known as Power Rangers. So she was like, what if I take these natural girls, put them in a color-coded team, and have them pose and fight evil with magic? So she mixed like all the shows from the previous that we were stating with Power Rangers, and that's pretty much how we consider the magical girl genre now to be born. So thank you, Power Rangers, for all of that. Yeah. And then you have a bunch of shows, like the 90s were a really big boom for a lot of magical girl stuff, be it like OVAs or TV series. I have Wedding Peach right next to that, and Wedding Peach is a very fun show. I suggest it.
like that one. That's not bad.
Yeah, Wedding Peach is pretty fun. So pretty much we just have girls who pose and do like Power Ranger stuff, and it's so cool. And then in the 2000s, I call this one the franchise boom. This is when people were like, we can sell more things. So a lot of shows, especially at this time, were like very long-running franchises. I have Shirogokara and the most important thing in all of Natural Girls, Pretty Cure, right next to it. So this is when a bunch of franchises, especially the ones aimed towards young girls, started to just really blow up, really go everywhere. The early 2000s were just like a treasure trove for all Natural Girl fans.
Does Shirogokara have a dub?
I do not think so, no, alas.
They just have that weird opening.
And then in the 2010s, we reach pain and parody.
Oh.
This is when people were like, what if we deconstruct all the Magical Girl stuff? Or we just like make funny jokes with all our Magical Girl stuff. Stuff like Madoka Magica and Magical Girl Sight came out this decade. Madoka Magica is far better. Don't watch Magical Girl Sight. I did.
I've never watched that. I know Madoka Magica,
I don't
and I
watch clips
know...
of that one.
Yeah, but Madoka Magica pretty much like really started like the boom. In the Magical Girl fandom, we describe like 2 separate like genres of Magical Girl show, which are Dark Magical Girl and Light Magical Girl. Pretty much this Magical Girl series is made for adult otaku, and this Magical Girl series is made for young girls. And I think both are good. Some are better than others. I think more Dark Magical Girl shows are not as good. But that's just me. It's all mixed. I love Madoka. This is me talking about Madoka. Madoka is great, guys. I will never recover from any of the movies. And then after that, we have the 2020s. And who knows at this point? It's only 2022, I think. And we've, what I've noticed is, at least from the first 2 years, is we're getting a lot of different like reboots and reimaginings. We're getting the Tokyo Mew Mew reboot soon. Of course, Pretty Cure continues. We haven't had a big chance to let 2020 Magical Girls take a foothold. But I'm interested. I'm hoping for more like Magical Girls like shows aimed for like younger audiences again, because I think they're cute and fun and I like them. And let's go on to common tropes.
Healing Good.
I love Healing Good's so cute. I love the designs so much.
Right now, currently going.
Such good girls. I love them. So we'll dive into some tropes that are commonly seen in Magical Girl shows, and we'll start off with solo Magical Girls and teams. So commonly, you'll see this, like, how big is your cast? How big is your cast of girls who can transform? And solo Magical Girls, as it sounds, there's typically one of them. Cardcaptor Sakura, Cutie Honey, a lot of the 80s Magical Girls as well. I actually think all of the 80s Magical Girls were solos. And solos are pretty fun to like go with. Personally though, I prefer groups. And these are groups of 2 or more characters who are all able to like transform into their cute frilly outfits and fight the powers of evil. And they are fun, but both are valid, both are good. And then Magical Girls can often be divided into 4 different classes, being witches, shapeshifters, idols, and warriors. Sometimes classes overlap, or sometimes they might not even fall into a class, but these are like the 4 main ones we go for. And witches are the ones that are like really back to the 80s Magical Girls, where it's like there's one and you have magic and you solve problems with that magic. Sometimes they don't even have transformations, like Cardcaptor Sakura, the one I have over there. It's considered to be like one of the biggest Magical Girl shows ever. Sakura doesn't transform. She just has a magic stick. All of her cute outfits are just normal outfits made by her friend.
I like Sakura.
Oh yeah, Sakura is great though. Thank you, Clamp. Thank you, Clamp, for Cardcaptor Sakura. Then you have shapeshifters, which again, yes.
What's your favorite cloud card that she has?
Ooh, that's so hard. I don't know. I'm always partial to like the more watery abilities, so I love those. It's so hard. Watch Cardcaptor Sakura or read it. Both are good. Then after that we have shapeshifters, which dates back more to the 80s genre, where we have Minky Momo here, who was a young girl who was able to transform into various different adult professions, mostly to be like, hey girls, these are the jobs you can have. Isn't that fun? Capitalism. and you actually can see this occasionally pop up, like in Sailor Moon, for example. She has that transformation pen where she's like, transform me into a cute sailor. Or like just a cute sailor boy, not a sailor scout, but you
I think like the first episode where she fights Jedi, she like turns into a flight attendant for no reason whatsoever.
the reason is it's cute. That's the reason for everything Magical Girl. And then we got idols, which again more dates back to the 80s, especially with Creamy Mommy, which is they sing, and you can sell CDs, which is the most important thing. You can sell more items if they sing, because even now you see pretty here a lot of the merchandise is CDs, especially in Japan. So having
one of them in One Day Carnation is a singer.
oh yeah, so just having your girl sing means you can sell more items. And then you have warriors, which is my favorite thing. It's just like they kick a whole lot of butt.
Yeah.
They are cool. This is Magic Knight Rayearth. Magic Knight Rayearth is so good. I love it so much. It's also like an isekai where isekai like became a big thing. I love female isekai from like the 90s. It is like one of my favorite genre. And then we have magical boys.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Welcome to Magical Boys. Because Magical Girls, it's called Magical Girl, but it's a party for everyone, for every single gender, no matter what you identify as. You have your time in the screen.
But when you're a male character, it's more cringe.
Not cringe, it's good.
Tuxedo mask, in which case.
Yes, so usually Magical Boys are add-ons to Magical Girl shows. We have a whole selection up there. And typically, if you're an add-on, you will get kidnapped and become evil at some point. That isn't even a spoiler. That's just a fact.
There's multiple points.
Yes.
Yeah, if I had for every time Tuxedo Mask got kidnapped, I don't know. That man just can't be like uncaptured and unbrainwashed for
Or
one
if you're
season.
if you're Yuno in lyrical Nanoha, you become irrelevant as the fandom pushes the Nanoha fake ship.
Oh yeah. He'll be like, we just want the girls though. But sometimes in shows you get good old magical boys as add-ons, or sometimes they are just their own thing with their own show. Usually the shows lean more towards parody, and I honestly like sometimes when it comes to parody, I'm like, you're making fun of the boys who want to wear like frilly dresses. That's kind of mean. I want to see more magical boy shows where it's like they can wear frills and still be cool as heck, instead of like, lol, magical girl Ore, isn't it funny they're in dresses? I'm like, no.
So is JoJo a magical boy anime?
Yes. Yes.
was such a good manga.
Oh yeah.
The manga drops the
It's definitely a magical boy.
Oh yeah. I was like up late a few nights ago thinking, is Ben 10 Magical Boy? Is Ben 10 a Magical Boy show? The boy transforms, but then moving on from Magical Boys, we got mascots. We're marketing, and we gotta make things into cute plushies, and best do mascots. Sometimes mascots are like actual characters who like have personalities, and sometimes they're just a cute orb. Yes.
So does that mean Tsubasa Chronicles is a magical girl anime? Because I notice you have the...
Well, that's also Ray Earth too. Because Tsubasa Chronicles is like a mix of everything Clamp.
Well, think about
Except
Clamp,
the
like,
angelic
everything's
layer.
supposed to exist in the same universe. Like, something is a sequel to something else, it's a prequel to something else.
Does that mean that the JoJo's Dojinshi they made where Kakyoin lays an egg also exists in that universe?
Like, I don't know what the watch is.
I love just, you gotta have your cute little mascot to be like, look at our penguin. Isn't it fun? And then we have power of love, the most important thing. And this love can be romantic love, platonic love, or like familial love. Just love is there, and it's important, and it's so good when you care so much about someone that you're willing to like just give up everything, or just like be best friends, or hang out together. And it's great, and it's beautiful. It's
And it has a song.
and it has a song, and it's great, and I love it.
I like how Sailor Moon's the
Like,
only
you
example
listen to
for
this.
this.
Because I could think about a lot about Sailor Moon. I spend most of my time, like, I think, awake thinking about Sailor Moon. And speaking, I guess, about love, we got LGBTQ plus fleas, baby.
Yeah.
That was a weird era in the 90s.
Yeah, do you remember in the 90s dub where they were cousins? Because we can't have them be
Alabama style.
I might tell you, my cousins never acted like that.
I know that.
they're girls and cousins too.
Maybe they're from Arkansas, Japan.
That's a stalking.
Is this such a place?
Oh god. In the English dub, in the original English dub, Uranus and Neptune, power couple, beautiful, beautiful lesbians, changed into cousins because
The Americans can't handle that.
yeah, and there were a bunch of other like weird changes for like character genders in the Sailor Moon dub as well, the original Cloverworks and Beak dub, where like there was like a one-off like a couple who were two men, and they were changed to brothers, of course.
Wasn't that why the last season took years to be released
Well, the
legally?
last season, or Sailor Moon was redubbed, started a few years ago by Viz, and they were able to release the entire season. But the original run in the 90s, they never got to the final season because they were the Starlights, and Starlights are characters that are very transcoded. I'm actually going to talk about them on the next slide, where I have a bunch of them. The Starlights are and the Starlights are characters who in their civilian forms are male, but when they transform into their sailor forms, they become female, and you can see their entire like transformation, like their body shifts, and it's great. And the Starlights are so interesting. They're also a boy band.
So isn't that really? But that's what the same thing happened with the Ranma 1/2.
Yeah, Ranma 1/2 too. That one's more of like a battle harem. Ranma 1/2 super fun.
Yeah, that's mostly like a parody, I think.
Yeah, but up here we have a bunch of examples. These are only just ones I can think of from the top of my head. Like we have Anthe and Utena, the classics. Zoisite and Queensite up there. In the English show Sailor Moon, Zoisite was turned into a girl. So fellas, is it gay? Yes. We have, I forgot the two boys from Pretty Cure, Hugto Pretty Cure, but like
It's like Akira and Yukari.
no, not the lesbians, the gay men from Hugto up there.
Got Mint and Zutaro.
Oh yeah, Mint and Zutaro, think of them being there. Again, I could only put so many gay people on this slide. We got Cardcaptor Sakura, we have Cagliostro from Symphogear, who's a trans woman, and she's great. I love her. I love Cagliostro, she's so much fun. We got some Madoka Magica, some cutie honey. We also have another Cardcaptor Sakura character, Ruby Moon, hiding in the back there. They are non-binary. We love to see it. We love to see it. And of course, we have Chocolate and Macaroon from Kira Kira Pretty Cure Alamo.
Their episodes have to be the best ones.
They do have the best episodes. I just watched this and like, is this a kid show? these girls are dating and in love. Yeah, but you see a lot of the gay in here, and I personally love that. It's just so good. I don't even know why the magical girl genre is so gay. Maybe it's because what you said earlier is so many magical girl shows usually like force out like male characters. So it's like we better ship together the girls then. But also in general, like I see me myself being LGBTQ+. I see also a lot of people like within the group in general, like who love magical girls. It's just a genre that really appeals to everyone. It's like you can be powerful. Because usually magical girl shows like involve like hiding a part of your personality and only being able to like share it with like specific groups of people. And I think just a lot of like us like kind of relate to that, like in that regard. And then it's like you can be powerful with friends who you have all around you, and it's great and it's wonderful. And magical girls are so good. Yes.
I'm wondering if that has something to do with the fact that traditionally Japan has been very not as forthcoming with LGBTQ rights and things of that nature, that artists let their
that could be
that the art kind of took over that area where in society it isn't as open. Not to say things are great here, but you know.
Yeah, that could be an option as well, because with a lot of like magical girl stuff too, a lot of it is subtext, and subtext I think is very important when it comes to like the history of like especially Yuri and Yaoi, and just something like LGBT couples actually shown. But moving on from the thing that I adore, we actually have to go back to, I said we'd come back to Princess Knight later, and it all relates back to the first shoujo or magical girl with Princess Sapphire from Princess Knight. Princess Knight was a character, the main character of Princess Knight, who was born with the heart of a man and the heart of a woman. And they have to like constantly be balancing like, I grew up as a prince, I must continue being a prince, but they're a whole gender soup, which I only look at and say, that's a gender I like. But they're very complicated to like look at, and like I think it's like super cool that like the first like example of magical girl or shoujo in general, like did have a character who was like LGBTQ+, and it has stuck ever since, and I love to see that. And moving on, we have demographics. And demographics is like pretty much like what group the show is aimed for. So commonly, as I said before, magical girl shows are aimed for a shoujo demographic, which are usually teenage girls. But you have magical girl shows popped up that are like more into like older adult audiences, like Kill la Kill and Nanoha. It really depends. Magical girl like spans everywhere. The demographics can be anything. And also the genre of magical girl can be anything. Could they be fun fantasy isekai? Can they be death game? Can they be Gundam? Can they be basic slice of life? Can they be like fan service? It can really be anything. There are so many genres a magical girl show can be. It can even be whatever Narya Girls is, because I watched that show in full, and I can't tell you what that show is.
I know that Nightmare Fuel.
The best thing I could probably describe Narya Girls is as improv.
Like a Vocaloid software system that you had on your
I think that's what it was, because it was all done live.
Yeah.
And it was a nightmare to watch.
Is that the same universe as X-Arm, or?
Narya Girl, I don't know.
I listened to somebody explain this for an hour, and I'm just like, I'm not touching it. I'm not touching
Please don't let me talk about Narya Girls.
I don't know.
And moving on, a common all the Sailor Moon monsters. A very common trope you see in a lot of magical girl shows are monster of the week plots, which are also seen in a lot of tokusatsu. As we said before, like tokusatsu like inspired a lot of modern magical girls. And what is monster of the week? It's you have like one character having a random problem. It could be like one of the main characters, or it could be like random NPC of the day, and they're like, I can't get my grades right. And then the big bad evil guy will send out like their general, and their general will like possess a test and be like, this is symbolic, on the nose symbolism. And the girls will have to fight a monster, and then they'll learn a lesson at the end, and it's great. Here are some examples from Sailor Moon. With they have the show's 200 episodes long. At some point, they started going like, ball. And there are actually 3 ball enemies in that season. That's from Supers. They're all related, and they're all very mad that Sailor Moon took down their cousins.
You probably get when you make a wish, or?
I've been watching Sailor Moon on Hulu, and I'm around the hundreds at this point. My brain's just like, I want to turn off right now.
Yeah, because a lot of magical girl shows are aired weekly, because they are made for kids, and usually kid shows actually run for the entire year. So like they have to find a way to like fill space between plot points, which some magical girl shows have a plot, some do not.
Too much filler in Sailor Moon.
Well, it was made to like air weekly, and they couldn't have like 200 straight episodes of plot when like they kept on catching up with the manga, so they had to put in an entire filler arc at R, because they were like, hey Takeuchi, I know you want to end your story after arc 1 by killing off all the characters, but could you please bring them back and continue your story for like 150 more episodes? And she was like, oh my god, please stop.
I always forget that that they all die at the end of the first season, don't they?
They get like reincarnated. Sailor Moon isn't wild, guys. But yeah.
It's kind of like Dragon Ball.
Sailor Moon goes on forever, and every time you think this is getting kind of out of hand, you just know Neko wanted to end it after season 1. But it's all good. I love all of Sailor Moon. And also a common story trope you see in magical girl shows in general are the Six Ranger. This term is taken from Power Rangers, where usually in mid-season, when the ratings are kind of starting to dwindle, because you've like watched a show before and you're like halfway through and you're like, oh, boring. So like they add a new character to the mix to spice it up. It's a big ratings trap. They're able to sell more merch, and it's just something that's commonly added. Like usually magical girl appearances in shows is you get your first half of the group and like the first 5 episodes, then it's like and then you get to the middle and you get your Six Ranger. This is very common in Pretty Cure. It's been happening since pretty much the beginning.
Well, except for the first incarnation, it was just the 2, but like...
Yeah, but then there's the Max Heart after that introduces Shiny Luminous. And then with the S5 they introduce Milky Rose, the name of the magical girl character in Pretty Cure. They introduce her in Go-Go. Yeah, but Six Rangers are very important for magical girl shows because they bring up ratings and they can add like different dynamics and spices to the team, and they usually are like somehow like really related to the plot. Six Rangers, they're usually kind of overpowered too, because it's like we need to add something cool, someone who can like explode the world with their eyeballs.
Do they immediately lose
lose all those overpowered abilities once they join the main team, like in Power Rangers?
No, it really depends.
Sometimes they take center stage a lot more than the original, like
I have Lemur up there for a reason. I love you, Lemur, but girl, you gotta give the other girls screen time.
Thank your car phase.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get to that, don't you worry. Then, of course, what I said before, buy our toys. Magical Girls exist on merch sales. They are made to sell toys to children. That's why when you watch especially Pretty Cure and you see an item like, I did children. That's why when you see a, that's why when you like are watching Pretty Cure and you see one of the characters like whip out like a stick and you're like, that was in one of my Polly Pocket sets. That's why they're made to sell toys. But also they sell toys to like older audiences too with like larger Figmas, like that beautiful Cardcaptor Sakura one we got in the middle.
There's one in the vendor hall too.
Oh yeah, you just walk around and you'll see so much like Sailor Moon merch and like Cardcaptor merch like everywhere. Like they subsist on selling toys to kids or otaku. And then, of course, I don't have any videos because, oops, but Transformations is another big thing in Magical Girls. It's not in every Magical Girl show, like Cardcaptor Sakura, for example, but usually Magical Transformations, you have your girl in their normal outfit, then they say their transformation phrase, and boom, they're in their cute, frilly outfit. And it's normally can animation, so it's stock animation that they use every week. And I like it, it's so good. People are like, oh, why don't the bad
The
guys
enemies are always nice enough to wait for them to finish the transformation.
It actually happens in a single
Hurry up.
millisecond.
I'm going to talk about it a bit later in this, but I'm watching a Magical Girl show from the 90s called Nurse Angel Ririka SOS. It's really cute. It's really good. I'm loving it so far. But during one of her transformations, the villain is just monologuing. It just keeps like kind of monologuing, like, you cannot beat me. Your heart is unpure. And then she just kicks his butt. And speaking...
When they transform and glow like
Yeah.
It's such a strong concentration of power during those few seconds that if you were stupid enough to get within a few meters of them, you'd be obliterated.
Yeah, I think there was a Pretty Cure fan who calculated the amount of like light energy that was emitted from the first transformation of Pretty Cure, and they determined that like it was enough energy to like blast Japan off of the earth. But like how much they are powerful girls.
I kind of like how in the first Pretty Cure she always says, why do I keep saying these weird things? Like, go back to her kid, why am I saying that?
And also,
To the point where she's like, I am about to say something weird again, aren't I?
oh yeah, and also with transformations come the attacks as well. And the attacks are pretty much like the transformations. There's canned animation made to sell you toys. It's like, don't you want this fun baton? I'm like, yes, please give it to me. I'm saying, I'm not making fun of you all buying toys. I buy the toys. I have an entire shelf in my room dedicated to Sailor Moon. What can I say? Huh?
I said just the one?
Just the one. At this point, they're so pricey. They're so expensive.
Yeah.
You should get
the older toys. They're like around $200. You buy like the older toys.
God, going back to like the old American like dolls, the Barbie ones that look disgusting.
I remember that.
It's like, how do we market toy to girl? People, and they haven't figured it out since.
They've been selling Barbie dolls for a while.
Yeah. For some reason, like every single company is like, we can't market stuff to girls because they're impossible to figure out. And I'm like, Pretty Cure is like the most popular franchise ever. And also you have like Barbie. It's not hard. You guys just don't know how ladies work. The attacks, and of course another common thing are the power-ups, my beloved.
Wow.
Power-ups can usually last from like, they can sometimes like last in like one fight in general where it's like, oh, you need to add the other stock animation in to like bump it up a bit. Or they could just be permanent, like Sailor Moon transformations where it's like, once she reaches a certain season, like she goes from normal Sailor Moon to Super Sailor Moon, which is the best outfit ever, to Eternal Sailor Moon, which is clothes.
I'm sorry, was that Super Saiyan Moon?
Sailor. Yeah, but it comes with power-ups, and it's good, and it's also a new way to, like, market new toys, and to spice it up. I love Super Sailor Moon's outfit so much. She's the one in the middle. It's just so pretty, so butterfly, so good.
I like the white one. I think the white Eternal Sailor Moon is really pretty.
The Eternal Sailor...
The one with the angel wings?
Yeah, the Angel Wings. I think that one, like, can look good under certain circumstances. Sometimes in, like, the original 90s anime, it looks so chunky. In the new Eternal movie, though, like, the rings at the end of her poofy sleeve, like, they look like those, like, pencil grippers you used to chew on when you were a kid.
Oh.
And I'm like, ooh, don't do this to me. Then let's go into some like good Magical Girl shows I just want to talk about in general, because you know there's a lot of Magical Girl shows out there. Once we reach the end of this presentation, if we have time, we can also like do a big recommendation like toss out. I can give you a Pretty Cure to watch, but that's not for a while. Like I said earlier, I'm currently watching Nurse Angel Ririka SOS, and it is so cute and so good. I'm loving it so far. It's a good time. I love her design. It's so cute. It's also a solo Magical Girl series, so like that's fun. And also, we've just been talking about anime, but Magical Girls are a genre that spans pretty much the entire world. You have your American Magical Girl shows. You have Magical Girl shows being made in like China, Korea, Italy. Both Winx and Witch Club are Italian series, and I suggest both of them.
Yeah.
You have stuff like Balala the Fairy from China, Flowering Hearts Catch T-Ping from South Korea. Then you have like She-Ra and He-Man, who are magical girls. You cannot change my mind on this. They have transformations.
They do.
Yeah.
You're right.
I'm correct. Miraculous Ladybug from France, but you have magical girl shows coming from all corners of the world, and I suggest watching all of them because it's really fun to see like what other countries have to offer when it comes to magical girls. Because even if you watch like shows that like aren't magical girl, like you see a lot of like inspiration, like the Cartoon Network show Craig of the Creek. There's a character in it, Sparkle Cadet, and she's just a Sailor Moon reference. And even in like non-magical girl shows, you can see how much like especially Sailor Moon like has like influenced creators and animators like the entire world around. And I think that's beautiful. And we gotta talk about Sailor Moon for a little bit because it's so good. So if you want to experience Sailor Moon, there are too many ways to experience it. You of course have the classic 90s anime, which is 200 episodes, and I've seen through that more than once.
We also had a couple of movies.
Yeah, you had 3 movies from the original one. You also have the classic manga, which is 12 volumes long. It's always getting reprinted. We've had 2 reprints in the past year.
Yeah, they came in like big book volumes.
Yeah, and now they're reprinting the big books as smaller books that are less expensive.
Yeah.
Just with the new translation. Then you have the Crystal and the Eternal, which are pretty much connected. They're just a retelling closer to the manga. And we just had the final arc announced in movie form. You have the musicals for Sailor Moon. Did you know there are musicals? Did you know they've been going on for like so long? They're I think one of my favorite forms to experience Sailor Moon. Like the newer ones are really good, but the older ones are like 90% bad improv, and I love them. And then of course you have the live action series, otherwise known as Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon. It's tokusatsu. And it is so good and so fantastic. It's a retelling of the first arc, and many Sailor Moon fans consider it being like the best way to experience the first arc, and I kind of got to agree. Watch the live action Sailor Moon if you get your hands on it. Pretty Cure. Time to talk about Pretty Cure, what we've been fearing this entire time.
I have actually never heard of this franchise.
I think they actually trumped Sailor Moon.
It does. So Pretty Cure is a huge franchise in Japan, not really much anywhere else, but we're going to talk about it. So currently it has 19 separate series. So Pretty Cure is known as a meta franchise, where like it has the same name, but like if you watch one season, you're totally going to understand another one. All seasons are like disconnected, aside from a few examples that I'll bring up.
It's Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's Final Fantasy.
Persona.
Yeah, Persona. So like there's 19 series and counting. They range from 45 to 50 episodes. I'm currently counting. There are 75 episodes, and it's still going. And there are 26 movies, and that's still going.
Didn't
It's like
they?
One Piece all over again.
Didn't they do a kind of weird dub for like 2 of these
Oh, I'm going to talk
series?
about that. Don't
Okay.
you worry.
Okay, I was like,
So-
Netflix became
so-
mine.
Yeah, so you can really watch any Pretty Cure season that you want to start off with, but there is a few caveats. The first season, which is just called We Are Pretty Cure, the sequel after that is Max Heart, and it's a continuation of the story. And then there's Yes Pretty Cure 5, which has a direct sequel, and Yes Pretty Cure 5 Go Go. They come right after each other on the Pretty Cure timeline, and you probably really wouldn't understand the first one if you haven't watched the other. So just consider like these four We Are and Max Heart as like one 100 episode show, and then Yes Pretty Cure 5 and Go Go as one other 100 episode show. And also I put Hugto up there. And Hugto is actually a way that a lot of people got into Pretty Cure, but it does have like one episode where there's a crossover with every single Pretty Cure from before it. And as long as you just jump to the show knowing, I'm not going to understand this one episode, but it's going to have sick animation, you can watch it.
There's also the final episode in all of them where Cure Yell just comes into play for no reason.
That happens a lot in Pretty Cure, especially in like recent episodes where it's like, and here's the lead for our next season, look at how cool they are.
That's a common writer thing.
Yeah.
Like the next writer like shows up and just.
Yeah, and pretty sure we call those the baton passes. And we gotta talk about some hard things when it comes to Pretty Cure. Specifically, we gotta talk about Glitter Force. So Glitter Force, well, first of all, only 3 seasons of Pretty Cure have actually been dubbed, which is the first season of Pretty Cure was dubbed. That's not under the Glitter Force title. It was dubbed by a Canadian company in the early 2000s, I believe. So that one's not related. That dub covers the entire series. But then you have the Glitter Force, which are available on Netflix. And they are 4 kids tier. Let's say that. So they cut out a lot of episodes. They cut a lot of context, like especially in Doki Doki. Like they cut out like half of like the emotional things. It's like people still enjoy the series, but like you're missing a lot of content. And also, I think Netflix has recently like lost the Glitter Force like copyright. Good. So I want to get like dubs that are like better. But also, when looking at Pretty Cure, where should I start? There's 19 seasons and counting.
Yeah.
So I just put up.
There was this part B here. That's the 19th season.
Oh yeah. So what I put up here is, again, because Pretty Cure, like, you can jump in anywhere and it'll still make sense, I just put up some recommendations I often hear. I have Futariwa up there, which is the first season. People often like starting with the first one when they jump into it. So start with that one if you want, but also consider to be the best series, which the best series people often start with, which are, these are fan opinions. They probably are your opinions, but who knows? I can't read your mind. Considered to be usually the best seasons by fans are Heart Catch, Smile, and Go Princess. Watch Heart Catch and Go Princess if you're looking for a more serious story. Serious in big quotation marks because like they are made for like kids and they still are really funny. And Smile if you're just looking for laughing all the time. And I also have in the middle the current series going on, which is Delicious Party. And usually it's a good idea to start with the one that's currently airing because I think it's easier to watch a show weekly than to catch up with 50 episodes. And currently it is 16 episodes long, but you can like do a marathon. And also a way to get into Pretty Cure is suggested to watch one of the crossover movies. Pretty Cure does this really cool thing where they or they used to do, they kind of do it now, it's complicated. I can talk about the Pretty Cure movies for a while, but I'm not. Where they take like cast from like previous seasons and they put them together in a movie and they have them fight a big bad guy and it's so much fun. So like try watching a crossover movie and like pick the team you vibe with the most. Because they are fantastic. But also, we gotta talk about the big elephant in the room. Only 5 seasons of Pretty Cure are available to watch legally.
Yeah.
Via Crunchyroll. And those seasons are Delicious Party, Tropical Rouge, Kira Kira, Healing Good, and the original Futariwa. And Futariwa, I believe, is also available on Tubi, if you ever use that one. So, you can't really watch a lot of Pretty Cure seasons. And also, with Smile and Doki Doki are available, but like they're available in their cut-up form, so like you don't have the full ones. So these seasons you cannot watch at all in like English-speaking territories. I don't even think they have like dubs in other countries that much. And you can't watch like any of the movies legally too. So I'm not saying yo ho ho it, but when you're a Pretty Cure fan, sometimes you gotta, because so much of it is not available. Just be careful when you're on some yo ho ho sites. Yeah, but so many seasons are not available, so just be careful when you're out there. And once they do become available, watch them. Watch them officially once they become available. Like, support the official release so Toei knows, like, hey, America has Pretty Cure fans too. Why do you make English logos for all the seasons if you don't put them in America? And moving on from Pretty Cure, let's talk about another show I'm so excited about. Tokyo Mew Mew is getting a reboot! Yeah, baby!
Oh my gosh, it looks so much prettier than the original.
Yeah, and it's starting up so soon. Yeah, the original one is closer to the wall, and the remake, or the reboot is closer to me, and it's looking so good, and I'm so excited. So, watch the Pretty Cure remake. Maybe if it's like popular, people realize, people like Magical Girl? We can make more Magical Girl series that aren't just Madoka Magica. And,
no, Princess Tutu!
Princess Tutu is so good, guys.
I actually bought that at the garage sale. I got the complete series for $25.
Oh my god! Yeah, but making a Magical Girl. You are a Magical Girl fan. You want to make your own Magical Girl. Let's get into some ideas that we can do. Things to consider when making a Magical Girl is, are they a solo or a team? What genre do you want to be in? What's the story of your characters? What's your demographic? How do your girls fight? Do they fight? And are you willing to draw this frilly outfit over and over again? Because sometimes I look at Pretty Cure character designs and I'm like, why are you animated? You look like a nightmare to draw.
It's true.
Oh yeah, some of them are like super simple, like Sailor Moon outfits are like pretty like simple to like draw again. But I look at like the Kira like outfits and I'm like, oh my god, it's so pretty, but why?
Yes.
And also usually Magical Girl like outfits are given a theme because it like makes it easier to design overall, and it's also a fun like gimmick to market too. So like you can have like themes be like colors, fruits, gems, planets, shapes, jobs, weather, monsters, anything you can think of. You can make a Magical Girl team based around it. And don't worry if you like copy another like past Magical Girl team. Both Tokyo Mew Mew and Pretty Cure a la Mode's themes are like animals and food, and look at how different they look.
Yeah. I got a question.
Yeah.
How good is that anime right there? I have never heard of it.
Pretty Cure?
Yeah,
Or
the one right there.
the one closer to me?
Yeah.
That one's pretty good. I say like it's a.
As somebody who enjoys baking, I do kind
Yeah.
of, that's where my
I like making like a B tier Pretty Cure season. I think all Pretty Cure seasons are good. Like some Pretty Cure fans are like, this season is the worst thing ever made. I'm like, no, all Pretty Cure seasons are like enjoyable. I've seen some bad Magical Girls. I've seen Naruto Girls. And also team outfits. Usually I have two Pretty Cure examples up here. Usually Pretty Cure, I have it on the brain, team outfits are either like a copy paste, like just changing up a few colors or a few elements. Like think of like the Sailor Moon outfits, how it's all like the basic sailor suit, but like some characters have like higher boots and different hair. Or sometimes Magical Girl like team outfits are very different from each other. Like they only share like one element, and it's usually the transformation item and like a gimmick. So just like go nuts with your team outfits. And usually also Magical Girl teams are color coded, like Super Sentai, it's like rainbow coded. Usually the most common colors you'll see are pink, blue, yellow, purple, green. Less common colors are often red, orange, turquoise, black, and white. And usually the color codeds are often given a distinct personality too, but it's different. This is just what I see most often. I've seen blues who are total dummies, but they're usually smart. Usually the pink is the lead. They're either a dummy or they are shy, because both are fun to do. Blue is they're typically smart and usually rich. That is very common for the blue to be rich. Even if they aren't smart, they're rich. Yellows can be energetic. I've also seen a lot of shy yellows too. Purples are usually stoic or princess types, and greens never exist. Greens will never exist. I'm sorry, Pretty Cure fans, you're never gonna get another green again. Yep. And time for me to plug my own thing. I have my own Magical Girl webcomic. It is decent at best. So for what I do with my team is they have very simple outfits because I'm lazy and I do not want to draw too much. They have their theme are like public domain stories, so like you have like nursery rhymes, fairy tales, cryptid at some point. They all have differing outfits. The unifying factor is that their main color is black, so you can see like the main color of all of them is black, and then they have a secondary color, which is like their actual represented colors. So we have like a pink, a gray, a red, a blue, a turquoise, and a white. And the lead has a slightly different outfit from the rest of them. Instead of having a symmetrical outfit, her outfit is a bit asymmetrical, and that is usually a thing. Like if you look at the Sailor Moon outfits, Usagi's outfit is a bit more complicated than the rest of them. Like she has a bigger brooch, she has the hair thing, she has the meatball covers. So yeah, go nuts with your Magical Girl, just have a good time. They also all have differing outfits too. Here are also just the Magical Girl shows I put up with some of my personal favorites. Magic Knight Ray Earth, I'm plugging that guy again. Princess Tutu, I think I've heard too many people applaud for Princess Tutu, so you know you have to watch that one.
Yeah. Even if you don't like Magical Girl, you'll like love other like elements like the ballet and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But make sure you have tissues for Tutu.
Oh, it hurts. And
I
also,
broke my brother with that one.
and also make sure you have
Make
sure you have tissues for Magical or Ojamajo Doremi, which is this kind of the series that predated Toei's like big franchise before Pretty Cure became a thing. And also, if the designs in Ojamajo Doremi look familiar, the same designer went on to the Heartcatch team, so that's why they all look so familiar and it's so cartoony. In Ojamajo Doremi, it's like really slice of lifey, especially for Magical Girl thing. Like there's barely any monsters, but it is the most heart-wrenching show you'll ever dang watch. It has some sad episodes and you go, oh no, these cute girls are just not having a good time. And then on the bottom we have, of course, Vidoka Magica and Flip Flappers, which I think more people should watch. Flip Flappers is fun.
Does Flip Flappers have a dub?
I think it does. So comments, questions, recommendations. I also have, exactly on time, 15 minutes left. A good amount of time for questions. Also, I have my plugs, my YouTube channel, my Twitter, and my Webtoon, which is found on Webtoon. So any comments, questions, recommendations? I see a hand right there.
Have you heard of the manga series Machi Maho? I messed up and made the wrong person into a magical girl.
That one kind of sounds familiar.
It's by Seven Seas.
That one is it cute? It sounds like a fun series, like a good comedy.
Basically, he chooses this girl with these big grilled rings and thinks she's cute and everything. Finds out later she's a Yankee and she smokes and drinks and swears.
That sounds so good.
And then she can fight the monsters without powering up because she's that strong. And she gets herself a lackey and stuff like that and beats the crap out of the poor little, the mascot dude that gives her powers and everything.
No.
I don't want to go in front of the camera.
That sounds so
And
good.
there's actually a spot where I think her transformation is interrupted. She ends up in her birthday suit at one point.
Oh no! Yeah, that sounds.
11 volumes so far.
Yeah, that sounds super fun. So.
So, as you can see, I love Kill la Kill.
Oh yeah.
Does that classify, do you think, as a magical girl anime?
I think I'd classify Kill la Kill as a magical girl anime, because like Ryoko, she does have her like transformation, and like there's the whole transformation sequence right there, and like sure it's less magic attacks, more like giant scissors coming for your face, but like it's still magical girl, I think.
A couple of recommendations. You showed
Also
a
still
clip
has
from
the
it
same
earlier,
like-
but Maho Shoujo Lyrical Nanoha.
Yeah,
And I
Nanoha.
love Nanoha. The first 2 seasons. Third one, Strikers, not
Yeah,
so great.
Nanoha starts out so
The
good.
first 2 seasons are great. I mean, just the power of friendship through superior firepower. And one other show I recommend, it's from the early 2000s, Mayhem.
Oh yeah, Mayhem. Didn't even talk about
It kind of
Mayhem.
starts off as your normal Monster of the Week magical girl show, and then the second half turns into Highlander.
It's so
But it's such a great. Unfortunately, I don't think it's on any streaming site. And you have to find
There's
it
a
on DVD.
there's a cut that I found on YouTube. It's called the Pepper Cut, and what they did is they put it on and they cut out all the scenes with the dudes. It's called the Pepper Cut just to make it more eerie. Do you have a question?
I did, but I lost it. Give me a second.
If you get it back.
I don't know.
So like I saw a whole bunch of you showing it. I don't think you said its actual name. That magical boy anime, Cute High Earth Defense Club Love. I do not know the Japanese name for it.
Let me find it.
There was like 3 seasons. I accidentally showed the latest season to my anime club when I meant to show the first one. It was weird, but oh my gosh.
It's a fun
You
one.
will fall in love with the pink-haired character from the first.
Where are you?
Wait.
Where are you?
Oh,
You can see that there.
yeah. Oh, no. He's red.
Oh,
Oops.
those guys.
Those are funny. I think that was the best.
They have
Did
all
you get your question back?
I did. The 3D model, like the MMD modeled one. What was it? The terrible one. The one that was like improv. Would you say that that one is sort of a precursor to HoloLive?
Yes. It was.
You could argue for a show that does like magical boy / add-ons slightly decent, Shugo Kira.
Oh,
Later
yeah.
seasons when the boys start getting into it. Speaking of
What was that for you again?
So like you talked about how basically tuxedo mask is like as useful as like a wet napkin. Because it gets touched so much. Are there any like magical boy animes where like the girl constantly gets like kidnapped and becomes completely useless?
Shugo Kira happens a couple of times where main character, like a couple of that's usually with a bad boy usually.
Yeah, sometimes that's the case. Trying to
Aw.
think even. Because a lot of magical like boys who like show up in magical girl shows, they're like, and this is the romantic add-on for the tension. I can't really think of like any ones where maybe like more fan servicey shows like would be like, and now the girl must become. Oops. You again.
Yeah, sorry. What's the one with the chainsaw?
Yeah, I want to know
Oh, the
that too.
chainsaw. That's is that a zombie? I
The
think.
zombie boy where the girl takes out her.
Yeah, that one's a harem.
Alright, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
One other one I thought of was Magical Girl Raising Project.
Oh, yeah, magical. I think I had a few magical girl raising projects.
You have the
pictures in
mascot,
here.
the
Yeah.
mascot character
I
on
think
that
I have
show.
them hiding somewhere else, but I don't know.
It's such a
We'll
great
leave it on
show.
this one.
It's such a weird, dark show. And a friend of mine who plays the main character in the English dub. Make
that's
ship.
so
It's
cool.
a friend of mine. It's such a great dub. It's such a. I hate that it only has one season. Like they have a ton of light novels, but there's only been one season animated. I wish they would make more of that.
Yeah, the anime was pretty fun.
I think the Sailor Moon, that season right there is technically one of my most hated series because I didn't
The
like
last
how,
season of Sailor Moon?
Yeah, I didn't like how he got on with Serena and Serena almost bought him. Like, nope.
Seiya is the nice non-binary. They're like, I'm not like other days.
I know. I'm like,
Why don't see the 5th season of Sailor Moon is a soap opera?
So I'm curious as to what your opinion is on the redub of the old Sailor Moon versus Sailor Moon Crystal.
Ooh, so this I am really not the world's biggest fan of Sailor Moon Crystal. I like it enough, but it's like I don't feel like it like lacks a lot of the things from the manga that I think like made the manga really interesting. Like the manga had a lot more like gore and like some really intense moments that like don't show up in Crystal. And I'm just like, where are they? It's like I used to really be like vehemently against Crystal, but now it's like, okay, it's fine. It does follow the manga more, and if you want like a more streamlined experience, I personally think Crystal is best once you've like experienced another piece of Sailor Moon media, because you have like more time to connect to the characters. And I do really like the redub as well. I do love the cheese of the 90s dub. So, do you remember when Usagi went through like 3 voice actors, or Serena went through like 3 voice actors, and some of them were bad. Some of them were so bad. And I'm really wondering, because I watched the Turtle movies that came out, and that's the most tired I felt watching a movie, because stuff kept on happening. I'm like, please take a break, slow down. Because it's like, and now we have this arc, and now we have this arc. I'm like, this is just a TV show. You should have made this one a TV show.
do you remember the original card character Sakura? Their voice acting wasn't very the best either.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just like
It sounded like you were trying
it was terrible. A lot of the actors didn't sound like convincing at all.
Do you remember the Cardcaptor Sakura movie? Not the one where she goes away and visits another country, but the other one.
The one with the I
The
just remember the tower at the
sadness.
end. It's like,
Yeah.
oh.
The sadness.
Cardcaptor Sakura is like so wonderful. You have like Clamp like giving us the relationships, and then they're also like, what if student teacher also? And I went, no, stop.
No.
Because Clamp's like, love is love, and I'm like, you know, I like the idea, but you brought it too far, Clamp.
Yeah.
They're like, but we had Kakyoin lay an egg.
Why not?
Kakyoin, did you lay this egg?
There's limits. That was one of the limits I would ask for.
There's so many other like magical girl shows. Like there's so many good magical girl shows out there. Symphogear is stupid, dumb fun, and like if you just want the stupidest thing you've ever seen, watch Symphogear because it is ridiculous. Let's go through it. Let's look at some wonderful girls. Oh, the mascots. Oh, we love the mascots.
Yeah.
Hey, it's QB.
Yeah, we got QB in there. You can trust
Sure.
them. You can trust QB.
Sure.
Look how cute that guy
It's like we have to
is.
sign a
Who could-
contract on it.
You have the wombat from the Magical Boy anime.
Oh yeah. Just that one. I like the wombat a lot because the wombat like kills the professor, and it's like I must be with the professor all this time, otherwise his body will rot. And I'm like, dang magical boy show. Also, a fun fact. The little kitty up there next to the mascots itself, that's Hummy from Swoop Pretty Cure, which is also one of my favorite Pretty Cure seasons. A lot of people are like, it's too cheesy, and I'm like, that's the point.
Voiced by Sailor Moon.
Yeah, she's voiced by Sailor Moon, and it's so funny. When watching, I don't really like laugh out loud a lot when watching like anime, but like I laughed out loud several times while watching Sweet Pretty Cure, and most of them were by Hummy. And also I laughed out loud a lot watching Smile Pretty Cure. We should just all watch Pretty Cure. That's what I'm gleaning from here. I actually didn't watch last night's Pretty Cure episode because I was so tired from the convention. So once I get home, I'm watching that because you need your weekly Pretty Cure, otherwise you get grumpy. You're gonna be grumpy. There we go, some Pretty Cures. Okay, there's so many to pick from. Oh, so many.
And they're so hard to get, huh?
That
Oh,
was funny.
yeah.
My brother was checking out my cousin. Why is there like a show where magical girls are fighting a giant dandelion? It's like that's.
There's been some wild Monsters of the Week for Pretty Cure because it has been going over for
Like
almost
the guy
900
with the
episodes.
flying car.
Oh God. Oh, what's
I've probably 5 boxes of paper with donkeys.
I'm just trying to think of like the most ridiculous pretty hero villains, because like they have the monsters of the week, but also they have like their pretty heroes, like their big bad evil guy, like every series, and then they have generals under them.
One show I don't think they saw a picture of her early on, but Utena.
Oh yeah, Udina too. Udina's fantastic as well. I saw this hilarious comment online once, because the director of Utena and the director of Princess Tutu both worked on Sailor Moon, and I saw a hilarious comment that said, Utena and Princess Tutu are people who watched Sailor Moon and had totally different interpretations of the Tuxedo Mask. Like, you're not wrong. Prince good, Prince bad, Prince complicated.
I don't know what the movie means, and I've seen it multiple times, and I still don't know.
The movie means lesbians can turn into cars.
Is that meme one, I think? It's like that girl transforms to a car. I've seen that online, but I've never watched it.
My writer wrote a cartoon. My writer wrote the magic girl turned herself into a motorcycle.
Really?
One time about the weird nightmare fuel one original prison with that anatomy chart being the monster of the week thing. Where they're like literally trying to fight, but they're running, screaming at the same time.
Do you have a question too, or is you just stretching?
Would Voltron be considered magical?
We should do a debate on which shows are magical girls, not when we have longer panel, because this one's almost stuff. So we'll put all the complicated ones, and we'll be like Voltron magical girl show. What else? Die Hard Christmas movie, but no Die Hard magical girl.
The other thing that One Punch likes to parody, Puri Puri Prisoner has.
Oh yeah, that's just a Sailor Moon reference.
Yeah.
There's also a Sailor Moon reference in Skate the Infinity too.
Is Skate the Infinity a magical girl?
The clown, Shadow Clown is. He's the only magical girl.
I think the real
70s Wonder Woman is like textbook magical girl.
Yeah.
I think the real question is, what are the characters from Fairy Tale?
Oh God.
Oh.
Can we count them as like, we gotta put them to the subgenre of like classical magical girl, like the 80s era, if they can just do magic, because they don't or some of them do transform.
They do get special animation when they attack.
Yeah. The magical girl genre is so wide and vague, and so many magical girl fans get like so upset when you're like, how dare you call the show a magical girl, I'm gonna destroy your bloodline. And it's like, come on, I just want to talk about cute girls, is that too much to ask?
Darling in the Franxx is mech magical girls.
And mech magical girls are a subgenre. Watch Magic Knight Ray Earth. That's the only thing. That's the only homework I have for all of you. Watch Magic Knight Ray Earth.
I do.
Yes, it's so good.
Does that make Sakura Wars magical girl as well?
The first day of the convention, they had a foo from the green one from Magic Knight Ray Earth, like in the garage, and I was like, I'm gonna pick that up, and then someone bought it, and I'm like, no! So pick up stuff from the garage sale when you can.
Yeah, someone bought the Reimu Hakurei from Toho.
Yeah. You gotta swoop it up as soon as you get it.
Yeah.
I found the Pokemon shoujo manga from the 90s, the one that no one knows about because it only had like one print. I found that in there, and I'm like, yes. So I think we're just about wrapped up. Any last minute questions or comments, recommendations, transformation phrases? Yes, in the back. I know you.
One of the one of the American magical girl shows you mentioned, Witch. It has one of the greatest theme songs in the history of cartoons in any genre in any country.
Which is fantastic too.
It's amazing.
Recently, the Witch comic has also gotten a reprint, and yeah, pick up the Witch comic as well. I love the TV show, but the comic is so good. Read the comic; it's so good. ASMR. Magical Girl review.
I listen to those ASMR videos all the time.
Can I plug a friend of mine who's a big magical
Yeah,
fan?
go nuts.
His name is he's an idol in Houston, Texas. He goes by the name Melancholia, but he has a separate Instagram for he promotes, where he posts a lot of magical girl stuff, and he has an Etsy shop where he sells his own homemade magical girl art.
Oh, that's
His Instagram for his magical girl site is Melon Soda, MELANSODA. And he's a great artist. He's a great performer. I just got to see him finally perform after close to 3 years at A-Kon in Dallas a couple weeks ago. His idol handle is Melancholia, but Melon Soda is his magical girl Instagram. So
sweet.
Check it out. Check out his Etsy. He's got a lot of cool stuff on there. I just want to give a plug to a friend of mine.
Radical. So everyone, thank you so much for coming to this panel. I'm so excited we had a pretty good turnout.
I don't have any bad